Hello and welcome to the WLAN News Desk. My name is Tom Carpenter. I'm the CTO at CWNP, and here for May 18th, 2018, we're starting a very special series of 3 news desks over the next 3 weeks. We're going to be talking about the topic of making a success of your wireless LAN career. Now, this is something that's very near and dear to me because over the years, one of my passions has been helping people find success in the technology space and even in other areas of life. And so it's very important to me. And because of that, over time, I've developed a way of talking to people about how to make a success of your career. And I call it the foundations of effectiveness. So this is my take on how to make a success of your Wi-Fi career. So therefore, we're going to use my concept of the foundations of effectiveness. What is the foundations of effectiveness? Well, it's a set of abilities that underlie your potential for success. And the greater these abilities, the greater your likelihood of success. And when these abilities are properly balanced, it increases your likelihood for success. So what are these 3 abilities? Well, they are relational abilities, self-management abilities, and technical abilities. I'm going to talk about all 3 of these over the next 3 news desks, but today I'm going to focus on just the first one, relational abilities. Now, I believe that relational abilities are the most important of the 3 abilities. Why is that? Well, the reason is if you have the deepest technical knowledge and you manage your time well and so forth, then you still can find yourself in a situation where you're unable to climb above a certain level on what we might call the ladder of success, right? And why can't you do that? Because you may lack the ability to communicate well, to negotiate well, to do the things in the relational abilities tool set that help you to achieve your goals. So relational abilities are absolutely key. This doesn't mean you need to become some kind of a phenomenal public speaker. It doesn't mean you have to be a person that's fluent in multiple languages and that you have a vocabulary beyond that of the unabridged dictionary. No, what I'm saying is that you need at least basic to moderate skills in this area of relational abilities. Now, I would suggest that there are 5 key areas of relational abilities that you should invest some time and effort into learning. The first one is listening skills. That's right. I'm not going to start by talking, I'm going to start by listening. And the reality is that a lot of the mistakes that are made in IT projects and Wi-Fi implementations and so forth are really due to the fact that we didn't listen well. We didn't really understand the needs of the client, the needs of the organization. We didn't get the right information. We lacked the ability to listen well. So listening skills are essential. The second thing, of course, is communication skills. When you need to talk, you need to talk. But you need to be able to talk so people can understand you. So it's very important to be able to help people understand technical concepts to the level that they need to understand them for their decision-making purposes or their utilization purposes. We don't want to go deeper than we need to go, but we want to go deep enough to help them understand it. And there are multiple different methods that you can use. You can use analogies, you can use stories and illustrations, you can use a layering technique where you start with very basic things and then go a little more advanced and a little more advanced and a little more advanced until you get them to the level they need to be at. So communication skills are important. The third thing is presentation skills. Here we're talking about the ability to deliver a presentation. It doesn't necessarily mean standing at the front of a room and giving a presentation. It doesn't necessarily mean getting on camera like I am right now and talking to a device and pretending like you're really talking to a human. But it means being able to deliver information to usually 2 or more people in some kind of a setting. You could be sitting around a boardroom table and you've got to deliver that information, but it's beyond just one-on-one communications when we talk about a presentation in most cases, though it could be to one person. Now, this means understanding that you don't want to rely on notes or slides. When you give a presentation, you need to know your stuff. You'll notice I have a piece of paper here with me every week that kind of reminds me what I want to talk about. You'll also notice I'm not looking at it the whole time. And that's because I'm making sure before I begin to deliver this information that I've thought it through, that I understand it, and I'm ready to give a presentation. So presentation skills are important. And then the fourth thing would be negotiation skills. How many times have you had a situation where someone said, we have to put the access points inside the plenum because they're ugly, or we have to put the access points inside the closet because they're ugly. And you have to find a way to help them understand the benefit of dealing with an access point, which today they're more cosmetically appealing than they were in the past. You have to deal with the reality of putting an access point where it needs to be. And that may mean negotiation, the ability to negotiate what's needed in that project. Of course, you'll want to negotiate your salary. You'll want to negotiate your job responsibilities. You'll want to negotiate new opportunities and new positions. All of these things throughout your career as you journey to success. And the fifth thing that is really key, I believe absolutely essential in relational abilities, is influence and persuasion skills. Now, this is a very important area to pause and make sure I'm clear on. I'm not talking about manipulation. To me, the way I think of it is manipulation is trying to get someone else to do something that's not necessarily good for them, but it's good for me. Influence or persuasion, this is my way of thinking, is about trying to get somebody to do something that's good for them. It may also be good for me, and that's okay, but I want to only use the skills of influence and persuasion for the good of others, for those that are around me. And so therefore, it's good for them. And that's why I'm trying to get them to do it. Think of that child you're trying to get to eat broccoli, right? So let me give you a little tip on that, by the way. If you're trying to get your child to eat broccoli and they won't, don't ask them if they want any broccoli. Ask them if they want 2 stalks of broccoli or 5 stalks of broccoli. Those are their choices, right? Now, yeah, you'll run into that child now and then who says, none, I don't want any. But if they've got the choice of 2 or 5 and they pick one, they're going to at least pick the 2. And who knows, they might actually find out they like it, particularly if you steam it and put a bunch of broccoli and butter and garlic together. It's really good that way. Well, I digress. But the point is, influence and persuasion is very important. Now, I didn't teach you these skills here today. I didn't teach you listening. I didn't teach you communication skills, presentation skills, negotiation skills, influence and persuasion. I didn't teach you these. There are all kinds of resources to help you learn them. I'm telling you, focus on these areas and master relational abilities, because technical abilities are assumed, and I'll talk about this in later news desks. Technical abilities are assumed. You got to be able to do that. But if you really want to find success, you need to add relational abilities to the mix. Well, that's all I have for today's news desk. We'll continue this series next week and the week after. And what I'd like to do is thank you for joining me. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe below. You can also click on the bell in order to be notified when we post the videos every week. And I'll see you next week.